Caspian, are you ready? I think you are. I can tell. You know how I can tell? You're blocking the camera. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Table Talk. I'm Chris. This here's Caspian. He's already judging someone. We just don't know who yet. Today, we're talking about sponsorship. Specifically, what it is, what it isn't, who can do it, and what the literature actually says about it. Because as it turns out, a lot of what gets passed around as the rules of sponsorship isn't in any literature that I've been able to find, and I have looked. We'll come back to that. So I got this pamphlet on sponsorship because I read. They hide information in books and pamphlets, by the way. Now, this pamphlet on sponsorship opens with something simple and kind of beautiful. It says the heart of this thing beats when two addicts share their recovery. That's it. That's the engine. One addict helping another. It's described as a two-way street, loving, spiritual, compassionate, and here's something that doesn't get said enough. It helps both people, the sponsor and the sponsee. We sometimes think of sponsorship as this one directional thing where wisdom flows downhill from the person with more time to the newcomer. But that's not really how it works in practice, is it? We only keep what we have by giving it away, folks. So when someone asks you to sponsor them, you're not just asking for your help, they're actually giving you something. Caspian appears to understand this instinctively. He gives generously of his presence every single day, mostly by sitting on the things that I need. See? Now, the pamphlet's pretty clear on this too. A sponsor shares their experience, strength, and hope. They guide someone through the 12 steps, they listen, they offer honest feedback even when it's hard to hear. What a sponsor is not, and the literature spells this out, is a legal advisor, a banker, a parent, a marriage counselor, a therapist, or a social worker. A sponsor is simply another person in recovery who is willing to share their journey through the steps. That's the job description. No advanced degree required. No minimum tenure posted on the door. And here's a line from the pamphlet that I love. Someone once asked, "Why do I need a sponsor?" And the sponsor replied, "This is great. Well, it's pretty hard to spot self-deception by yourself." Wow. Think about that. Self-justification, how easy is that to do? It's pretty hard to spot self-deception by yourself, folks. That one lands. Okay, so here's the thing I want to talk about, and I want to be careful about how I say this because I genuinely love my home group and I love this fellowship. But something's been coming up lately that I think is worth an honest conversation. There are people, good people, people that I care about, who have expressed that I shouldn't be sponsoring anyone yet because of how much clean time I have. 6 months to be specific. Now, I want to be fair. I understand where the instinct comes from. More time generally means more experience. More experience generally means more to offer. And that's not crazy. But here's what I did. I went to the literature because that's what we do, right? We go to the literature. And I looked. I looked through the sponsorship pamphlet. I looked through the basic text. And nowhere does it say you must have a certain amount of clean time before you can sponsor someone. What it does say is that a sponsor should be living the program of recovery, working the steps. It says most newcomers look for someone with more time than they have, and that's reasonable. That's a suggestion, but it's not a requirement handed down from on high. I have a sponsor, I have worked the steps, and I have my sponsor's blessing to sponsor others. That's not me going rogue. That's me doing exactly what the program asks, finding someone with experience, doing the work, and then passing it along. Now, I also want to say this, and I mean it sincerely. I don't want this to be a space where I take shots at anybody. That's not what this show is. Caspian and I didn't sign up to be a grievance podcast, did we, buddy? Right. We didn't. He just said it. But I think there's something real here worth naming. Sometimes the people most loudly opposed to someone else is working their program, aren't working one themselves. And I say that not as an accusation, but as an observation, and honestly, as something I recognize, because I've been that person, critical of others, while not doing the work myself. The program has a word for that, a few of them actually. The literature does address timing, but from the sponsee side, not the sponsor side. It says most members think it's important to get a sponsor as soon as possible. One member compared it to drowning. You don't need that lifesaver immediately. You don't wait. Wait a minute. You do need that lifesaver immediately. Sponsorship helps us stop living in isolation, helps us feel a part of something larger than ourselves. It says, and I think this is beautiful, in coming in, we have finally come home. There's a book by Tick, Your True Home. I suggest it. That's candy, folks. Fight me. That's what this is all about. That's the whole thing, folks. Not gatekeeping, not credentialing, coming home. So if you're new and you're wondering whether you should find a sponsor, yes, and now. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect person. Ask someone who's living the program and working the steps and seems like someone you can trust. You can always change sponsors later if it's not a good fit. The literature even says that. And if you're further along and someone asks you to sponsor them and you've done your step work and you've talked to your own sponsor about it, don't let anybody else's opinion of your qualifications stop you from what this program was literally built on. That's the whole thing right there. Caspian, any final thoughts? Wise as always. We'll see you next time. Just for today, show up, do the work, and let the results be what they are. Netto out.